Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a great day. And above all, let's try looking after yourselves and one another because that is what's most important. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken and I are back with another episode of Live Album Spotlight. Before we unleash the album, and I did say unleash the album that we're going to speak to you about today. Ken, how the hell are you?
I'm doing darn fine, Armando. How about you?
I'm doing wonderful, getting old as we all are and dealing with some
Uh,
back issues, etc. But I'm not complaining. No one listens when you complain.
mhm.
Uh, that's what the government's for. Anyway, we won't even go there. Ladies and gentlemen, again, live album spotlight. The album in the spotlight today is Yessongs from, you guessed it, Yes, a triple vinyl album Odyssey, released originally on May 4th, 1973 in the US and the 16th of May 1973 in the UK through Atlantic Records. Let me set this up for you, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we're on tour for their album Fragile. No, sorry,
Yeah.
Close to the Edge. There was a couple of tracks were recorded for this release from the Fragile tour, but I'm going to backtrack a little bit. They were on tour for Close to the Edge, and they decided to record a live album as a stopgap until they had their next studio album ready for release. That studio album would be Tales from Topographic Oceans. Uh, yes, Songs was recorded from Feb February to December 1972. And the tour was a UK and North American tour. And the opening date for the North American tour was in Toronto at the Maple Leaf Gardens on October 31st, Halloween night. Okay, the album was produced by Eddie Offord, and yes, total playing time for the triple album release 129 minutes and 16 seconds. Upon release, the album reached number 12 in the US charts, number 8 in the Canadian charts, and number 7 in the UK charts. 13 tracks in total. Now, just a bit of background with me on this album. I bought this album in the 90s on CD, double CD, and I listened to it. And you know what? At that point in time, progressive rock music for me wasn't even on my radar. And I eventually gave the CD away. Shoot me now. But upon listening to progressive rock music over the last few years and gaining an appreciation for it, I wanted to revisit this album, and Ken wanted to come along for the ride. So I'm giving you my opinion of this album with fresh ears, just off the top of my head. Ken, what is your history with Yes Songs?
My history, I don't remember what year I bought it. It was on vinyl. It wasn't long after it was released. Um, I was familiar with um, the songs "Yours Is No Disgrace" and "Starship Trooper" from the Yes album, um, from a couple of other sources. Um, and then, while reading comic books, I saw a double page ad for the Columbia House Record Club. ah, six for a penny or whatever. Um, so it's like, okay, I think I'm going to do this, and triple vinyl, and it counted as just one selection. So for me, it's like, oh, this is a deal. Especially, I'm making a stealing from Columbia House, right? Um,
Okay.
so just based on those other two songs, the two songs I knew, I bought it. So pretty much sight unseen. And this was my first prog album, and it pretty much blew my mind. Um, I wasn't familiar with a particular genre called prog. It was just music.
Hold on a second. This was your first prog album?
Yeah,
Holy shit. Okay.
yeah, it was.
All right. Go on.
The first prog album, first Yes album.
Jesus.
Um, and whew, so I really didn't know what to think. Um, Especially the way the album opens with that excerpt from Firebird Suite. And if I'm
Yeah,
not
from
mistaken,
from
they
Igor
were playing a
Stravinsky.
recording while the band came out on stage and got set up, and then it goes right into a Siberian Khatru. But
Yeah, Firebird Suite from Igor Stravinsky at three
yeah,
minutes and 45 seconds. Yeah.
yeah. And so, which usually these days I'll usually skip that when I listen to it, but and just get straight to the yes. So yeah, probably freshman or sophomore in high school. Discovering this, growing up in the South of the United States, in um, redneck country and stuff like that, where I think at the time the only radio station that I could get um, in junior high and middle school, they were all country music stations. So, so yeah, it was something very, very different. Um, uh, it didn't overwhelm me. It just kind of opened my eyes the way other music did later in the 70s. Um, I think the album, just in general, um, is lightning in a bottle. I use that analogy fairly often, at least the older I get,
Yeah.
because the timing was perfect.
Hmm.
Um, it is almost totally a collection of tracks from the Yes album, Fragile and Close to the Edge, which, in my opinion, is um, the Yes trifecta. Those three albums in sequence. Um, and so then to do a live album with that, with just a couple of other things thrown in, you know, um, um, a Rick Wakeman, solo piece and whatnot.
Yeah.
It just, it's almost like an early greatest hits
Yeah.
live,
Yeah.
and it's focused on um, their real prog pieces, even the short pieces, which yours is no disgrace, Starship Trooper, are much shorter in time, but they're multi-movement.
Yeah.
Just the same way that Close to the Edge is multi-movement, it's just not as long. Um, I do love the pre-prog Yes albums, which are individual songs, short songs that really do show where they're going musically.
Hmm.
So, and the way I understand what they did in the studio, they composed almost kind of like the second side of the Beatles' Abbey Road, individual songs, and then Alford would take them and splice them together into these larger um,
Sweets.
suites. Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, and there are at this point a lot of Yes Live albums, official Yes albums on release.
Hmm.
Maybe even more at this point than studio albums. This is still my go-to.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
both historically, is as far as my personal experience, and also because, like I said, those three albums are my trifecta
Yeah.
in the Yes catalogs. Even though I love a lot of the other Yes albums too, but
Hmm.
these are iconic for me. So yeah, um, sophomore high school, Mind Blown, Love Forever.
Okay. All right.
That's my experience.
Okay. Well, before I forget, we should discuss who plays on the album. We have John Anderson on lead vocals, Chris Squire on bass and backing vocals, Steve Howe on electric acoustic guitar and backing vocals, Rick Wakeman on keyboards, Bill Bruford on drums for Perpetual Change and Long Distance Runaround, and The Fish, and Alan White on drums on all other tracks. As I said, the music that was pulled together for this release, was based on music that they performed on the tours for Fragile and Close to the Edge. You know, as referring to my blunder at the beginning of the episode. Okay, so this album for you was your first progressive rock album and your first jazz album. Again, holy shit. Did you think that maybe this was a lot to take in as a first progressive rock album for you?
Uh, Possibly. Um, uh, Honestly, I didn't analyze it. I just kind of put it on and let it play, and um, I really at that point I really did appreciate the level of musicianship for all of the instrumentalists. Never heard a guitar played like that. Definitely never heard a bass player like that.
Yeah, Rickenbacker bass, yeah.
Yeah, in which I'd go on to be a big John Entwistle fan after this. Um, so multi-sectional, multi-movement songs. Like I said, I was familiar with Starship Troopers, so that's what made me really curious about Yes. Where you've
Hmm.
got songs that are basically three completely separate movements or sections within a song. Um, it really did intrigue me. So it was kind of a logical step forward. It um, I had an expectation based on my previous experience with those individual songs, and this pretty much fulfilled that and just kind of expanded upon it.
Hmm.
Um, I probably rarely listened to it all the way through in one sitting,
Yeah.
and that's six sides of vinyl. That's a
Yeah.
lot of music.
Yeah, and side five is all it was one track. It's close to the
Yeah,
edge, 18 minutes and 41 seconds. So it's quite lengthy. I'll give you my experience with this album. Okay,
yeah.
I did buy it on CD. There is the story of me doing you know do you remember, ladies and gentlemen, when you used to tape from the radio on cassettes? My very first attempt to record a song off the radio was Roundabout. Okay. On a Sunday afternoon in September of 1982. Not that I'm dating myself, but there you go. I just did. And not even realizing it was progressive rock. I just like that keyboard intro and the acoustic guitar that come in. Very subtle, beautifully done. But yeah, listening to this album, Cold, back in the 90s, it was very overwhelming. Let, just going through the track listing, it starts off with the opening of the excerpt from the Firebird Suite from Igor Stravinsky. It segues into Siberian Kotru, and then Heart of the Sunrise, 11 minutes and 26 seconds. Perpetual Change comes next, concluding at 14 minutes and 8 seconds, including a drum solo.
Yeah,
Very good drum solo. And You and I is next with Chord of Life, Eclipse, The Preacher, The Teacher, and The Apocalypse. 9 minutes and change. Mood for a Day, the 2 minutes and 52 seconds instrumental, piece from Steve Howe. Great acoustic guitar on that. Then it segues into the excerpts from The Six Wives of Henry VIII from Rick Wakeman at 6 minutes and 35 seconds. Roundabout in its entirety. 8 minutes and 33 seconds. I've Seen All Good People is next. Again, with Your Move, All Good People, and it Yeah, it's a lot. Okay, it's 7 minutes and change. Some of the songs are shorter, some of the songs are longer. I mean, even to revisit it to for this episode, sonically, it was a lot to take in. Like I was saying to Ken before we started taping, I had to take 2 days to listen to this. Okay, I have the vinyl release that I bought for like $15 here in Edmonton at Sound Connection, and the vinyl is in mint condition. Um, and it's good. It's good, and but it continues. After I've seen All Good People, it segues into, long distance runaround. The Fish, which 13 minutes and 37 seconds. Close to the Edge, again, side five of the album, 18 minutes, 41 seconds. Then the final two songs, Yours is No Disgrace, 14 minutes and 21 seconds. Starship Trooper ends the album with, Life Seeker and Disillusion and Worm, 9 minutes and 25 seconds. 13 tracks in total, 129 minutes plus. It's a lot to take in, okay? And I commend you for this being your first progressive rock album and first Yes album to listen to. I've listened to this album. I think it's good. It's a good album. It is a Yes live greatest hits up to that point in time of 72, 73. Let's talk about the sound on this album. I've listened to previous Yes albums that have been available on box sets, most notably the Tales from Topographic Oceans, those certain live recordings that were made available of the album. I did critique them in that for me, if the sound wasn't up to quality, like grade A quality, I wouldn't have released it myself. What is your view on the sound of overall of this release?
A lot of the criticism that I've read over the years about this album, and I share this opinion, is that the quality of the recording is lacking. Um, and from all that I've read, that that's just it. The source tapes, the recording is just not as good as. I'm not sure if it's as. I'm not sure if it's because of the um, of when it was recorded. You know, the year, the recording technology, whatever. Um, that it was just it was good for what it was at the time. It was the best they could do at the time. I don't know, or whether they could have done better, but just for whatever reason didn't during the recording process. But this is by far the biggest criticism is that the recording quality is lacking, um, and you can tell it, especially if you compare it to other recordings too. I think I suspect that it's probably the problem was uh, not the level of ability at the time, technically. I think that it's just whoever did the actual taping and recording was, for whatever reason, just didn't do as good a job as was possible. It's something that I would like to see. If the limitations is in the original recording tapes, I would like to see them at this point in time run it through AI like they're doing with a lot of older recordings now.
Yeah.
And as you would say, build it from the ground up, rebuild it, and see if they can clean it up and because even with the limited audio on this, you can still hear the individual instruments.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Well,
and don't get me wrong. I mean,
it's just a little bit foggy, you know,
yeah, yeah. I
not as
mean,
crisp.
yeah, the musicianship on these recordings is stellar.
Yes.
Is stellar. There's no argument about that. I'm I mean, the elephant in the room for me is the sound quality.
Yeah. Oh,
I
sure.
mean,
Oh, yeah.
the most the recently released "Wish You Were Here" set with the bootleg concert from '75 has a better sound quality
Yeah.
than this recording that we're talking about, and and the reason why they used it, the band Pink Floyd used this bootleg recording, was that it was of better sound quality than any of the recordings that they had at that time that were available. Right? So it's just that's it is what it is. But I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we are not knocking the musicianship on this album. It is impeccable. It is flawless.
Yes.
The root of the issue is the overall sound quality of
Yeah.
the master recordings. And I'm just wondering why they haven't, you know, rebuilt it from the ground up,
Yeah.
like
I don't know.
up
And
in, up until now.
and
Like,
now in 2026, we are so completely spoiled with
yeah,
high fidelity. With uh, you know, orig- for 20 years at least, and even up to 40 years, the advances in recording technology um, has progressed so much that we've been spoiled by it. Um, this is still an album that I would recommend. It's it's not it's not a bad sound. It's just lacking, but um, it's for me. It's still the best live Yes album there is because the performances are so just unbelievable. They were at the top of their game at this point.
yeah,
Um, the
I would
fighting
agree.
hasn't started yet,
That
but
would be the next tour.
yeah, oh, God, yeah, that was the next tour.
Yeah.
Um, um, I mean, I'm sure there was a little bit because there was always when you got that many genius musicians, there's always going to be some contention there.
Well, it's got to be said. Bill Burford has said in interviews when I think it was "Yours Is No Disgrace" when John Anderson was trying to explain to him the his musical idea, right? He basically turned around and said to Anderson, "John, you're just talking about the Bonanza theme. Like you're talking about the Bonanza theme, the TV show Bonanza. That's the theme that But if we move this ninth here and move this chord, like this section here, and do it this way, it won't sound like we're copying the Bonanza theme, because it's dun 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 dun, and it's like, okay, I get what he's saying now, right? Or when just quickly, when Don Anderson would try and explain the musical idea to him, and Bruford would look at him like, "What are you talking about?" And John Anderson, because John Anderson really didn't play an instrument, right? So John Anderson would say, oh, "Okay, well then you try and do what I'm saying. And then he would do it. I was like, "That's it." I was like, "Of course, because I just showed you what you're trying to tell me." Like it was those little arguments that would come up, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
And it wasn't until the following tour for Tales that the arguments would begin to happen. And it is a good album. It is a good album. It is a good live recording, and it's a good representation of where the band were at that time musically. I I just wish that this album was more pristine, more clean in terms of its sound.
Well, and that quite easily may be coming, because they've been taking all the classic lineup albums and reworking them and putting them out as excellent. new mixes and box sets and whatever. Uh,
Hmm.
for this much music and considering the source tapes, it might just take them a little bit longer time to do it because there's more to overcome, so to speak. I'm hoping this is on my wish list for for cleanup and reissues.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's absolutely no reason for me to purchase this. I didn't buy the massive box set from several years ago called Progeny, which were 7 full concerts from this tour. Um, I I didn't buy it because, as you said before, it's like, well, it's 7 complete recordings of the same set list, basically. Um, how much do you need? Especially if the sound quality, and I don't know, I need to get online and listen to them. If the sound quality of those other concerts are no better than this one,
Then what would be the
then it's
point? Yeah.
especially what's the point?
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it so like many other albums I've spoken about, my love for this album is largely um, just because of when I bought it,
Yeah.
and it's my first Yes album. It's my first prog album. Um, that it's just it holds a special place in my frequently beating heart. But
Frequently
but I
beating
still
heart.
but I still stand. It's a hill I will die on. The performances are just absolutely just unbelievable
Yeah.
because they can do magic in the studio easily, even back then, analog.
Yeah.
But to reproduce these so incredibly accurately and well
Yeah.
and expand on them, during the solos and stuff like this,
Yeah.
to do it live, to me as a musician, is mind-boggling.
Yeah. Are there any songs that stand out to you over
Oh
others?
gosh.
Or
Um,
you don't have to go through all the 13, but I'm just,
not really. I could. It'd be easy for me to say the songs I could do without. The Six Wives of Henry VIII is interesting. I
okay.
prefer the Wegman's Henry VIII within context of the original album. I could do without that here. Um, I think it's I think it's very interesting how they reproduced the fish. Considering what the way it was originally created in the studio. Um, yeah, it's just for me, it's just a solid album in and of itself
Hmm.
because that's the way I've always experienced it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I I usually will skip the opening excerpt
Yeah.
from Blackbird Suite, um,
Okay.
but not always because it's cool to listen how they go straight from that into Siberian True.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
it's just lovely, and the sequencing is great too. The way the songs are sequenced in the order.
yeah. If I may make a recommendation, if anyone out there wants to hear these songs done really well, John Anderson and the Band Geeks have the Perpetual Change double disc live release that came out a year and a half ago, a couple of years ago, uh, featuring Richie Castellano on guitar and various instruments. And they do a wonderful job of the classic Yes catalog, just meticulously done,
Yeah,
beautifully done, and it was recorded at a theater venue, a small venue, and it's just impeccable, impeccable. If you wanna get the classic Yes tracks done a la 2024, that
Yep.
release is for you. Regarding Yessongs, yes, I do like this album. I think it's wonderfully done. The musicianship on this album is impeccable. I like the little sort of little side roads or side steps they take with regards to the Six Wives of Henry VIII
Hmm.
and Mood for a Day. I do
Hmm.
like that. Just give it a little bit of a different color and texture to
Sure.
it. Uh, Roundabout for me is done at such a breakneck tempo that it's like it's wonderful, don't get me wrong, and done in its entirety. But they do it at such a breakneck tempo that it's like, did I just miss something? Like it's almost like they want to get through it because one of them has to go to the bathroom, kind of a thing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you need a seatbelt for that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good. Um, yeah, and the audience do respond. I mean, it's not like the audience is sitting there going, what is this shit?" You know, it's not like listening to Captain Beefheart.
Hmm.
Nothing is that bad.
Wow. Yeah.
Black MIDI. But I won't even go there. But no,
Prostate exam. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, won't even go
Yeah.
there. But but no,
Excuse me.
this album, and I'll get your opinion. But this album for me is a good live album.
Hmm.
And it does represent the best of Yes at this point in time in 1973, pre Tales of Topographic Oceans and pre the arguments that would ensue with regards to Tales of Topographic Oceans. I would say that this is a good gateway to get into Yes.
Yes.
I wouldn't recommend this to a 10-year-old, depending on their musical palate. But if you're a teenager, 15, 16, and you want to seriously get into music, progressive rock music, or you want to listen to an album that's going to challenge you musically, but still accessible,
Yeah.
this is for you.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree. I agree because, like I said, this is basically um, a greatest hits up to this point, and performed impeccably. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. And yeah, and let me just restate something. This is not a concert where you hear the guitars in the right channel and the vocals solely on the left channel. This is where they're on stage, the vocals are dead center in the mix. This is not what you hear on the Tales of Topographic Oceans box set, because that's what you hear in those live performances. This is a properly recorded stereo recording, officially released. This isn't a bootleg. This is, and obviously you know it as an official release. I'm just saying that for the sound quality, it's been well touted over the years that this is needed to be cleaned up quite a bit for whatever reason. And it didn't, for whatever reason, sorry, it didn't come out the way it should have. So that's, I just want to make that clear right off the bat. But it is a fantastic recording. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Live album spotlight featuring Yessongs from 1973. Please put down in the comments below your opinion of this release. And should there be a Steven Wilson remix of this release? Please let us know in the comments down below. I personally say yes. Yes.
I'm, I would invite people to comment down below um, what they think of this album and the sound quality. But more importantly, I want to know which one of you still owes money to the Columbia House Record Club.
Yeah. Ooh,
I did actually at one point I did find a loophole
really?
in Columbia House Record Club. Uh, Direct message me and I'll tell you what the secret is for a
There you
small
go.
fee.
There you go. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it, including Ken's little advert there. Please message him directly about the Columbia Record House loophole if you're still involved with that thing. Oh God. Um, Again, no right or wrong answers, just opinion. Please put your comments down below. We want to get your opinion on this album and your, you know, would you see? This is another question. Would you sequence this album any differently? Okay, put down below what you think a proper track sequence of this album would be.
Question, yeah.
Okay, and again, no right or wrong answers, just opinion. Again, click like and subscribe and click the notification bell to keep yourself on top of any new content we've got coming up. We are now on X. You can follow us now on X, and we have more shows that we have coming up. We are going to be back with another episode of album discussion. Ken and I are going to be looking at The Fix with their debut release, Shuttered Room, featuring the singles Red Skies and Standard Fall, my personal favorite. And Bill Schuster's coming on the channel, and we're going to be doing a series of episodes called Outlaws and Heroes, where Bill is going to be taking the reins on that, and we're going to be talking about his love and history with country rock. And Ken is going to be joining us for that episode as well. We have also uh, album anniversaries coming up, looking at albums celebrating the 40th anniversaries for the month of April from 1986. That's coming up. Uh, it's going to be a hell of a show, ladies and gentlemen. Sagoshi is going to be joining us for that one as well. So please join us for that. And we have more episodes that we're working on, and we're going to get them to you as quickly as possible. Oh, and I also forgot, we're going to be taking a look at the album Union from Yes.
Yes.
The almighty question, is it as bad as people really think it is? We're going to answer that question on our next episode. So
Is it
that's
more
coming
than a
up too.
soap opera? Yeah.
Exactly. Uh, that's coming up. That's going to be wonderful. And I'm sure if you asked every member of the band, yes, uh, about Union, you'd get a different response. Okay. Uh, Probably a unified response, one
Yeah.
major big response on the album. Uh, so that's coming up. Please check us out again on X and follow us on X. And we'll see you again on the Music Den. Have a great day. Look after yourselves and one another. Bye for now.